Anderson Cohen, and I am here with Vida Del Rahim and Ronit Menashe, who are co-founders of WeNatal. Welcome, Vida. Welcome, Ronit. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks you. For having us.
Well, let's start with you, Vida, so that I make sure to give everybody a chance to talk. Vida, tell me a little bit about WeNatal, where did it come from, and what are you making today?
Yeah, so the short answer is WeNatal is one of the first supplements for him and her, intentionally designed for the couple. And we'll tell you more about how it kind of got dreamt up. But Ronit and I met over 15 years ago at Nike in our corporate jobs and became fast friends, best friends, went through life together and literally had the best time in our corporate careers, dating, getting married around the same time and having kids. And I'll let Ronit introduce herself before we jump into how WeNatal was thought up.
Sure. And I'm Ronit. I'm just going to piggyback on what Vida shared and talk about our story. So Vida and I in early 2020 both experienced pregnancy loss. Vida's happened first, and then mine happened a week after Vida's. And at the time, I was working in the functional medicine space with Dr. Mark Hyman. Functional medicine is the medicine of the root cause. So whenever you have an issue, you always ask, what is the root cause? So when we had our miscarriages, I asked our doctor, why did this happen? And she said, 1 in 4, it happens frequently, just try again. And I wasn't satisfied with those answers. So I really dove into the research and started to look into why miscarriages happen and what can we do to improve the odds of a healthy pregnancy. I really tried to look at, okay, what can I do to improve my egg quality? And then when I started to dive into the research, I learned that A, there's a lot you could do to improve egg quality, but B, sperm is 50% of the equation and contributes to pregnancy loss, fertility, success, and all of those things. And the other thing that was a big aha for me was that it's really easy to improve sperm quality. So I called Vida one day and I said, Vida, we need to launch a men's prenatal. And that was the original idea. A men's prenatal, antioxidants, high dose antioxidants is the number one thing you can do to improve sperm quality. And we thought, why isn't anybody talking about sperm quality? Why is it all on us? Why do we feel the guilt, the shame, the burden of it all? And so, that was the original concept, the men's prenatal.
Aha, makes so much sense, right? Every friend we tell, men are 50% the equation, they're like, of course, duh. But we found such significant, real issues with the fact that society for hundreds of years have placed that burden on the female. And we intended to bring couples closer together in this mission. So we, like Ronit mentioned, we sought out to make the men's prenatal, then quickly learned when we're taking our own prenatals that yes, the market is saturated. There's a ton out there, but a lot of them are over-promising and under-delivering. And that's when we said, we have to literally innovate in this game, and we deserve better, our families and friends deserve better, and let's reinvent what his and her prenatal looks like to give people the best possible chance to the start of life.
Let's talk about prenatals just a little bit too, because I think there's sort of a window when women are sort of recommended to be taking prenatals. And as you were saying, it's a really saturated market, but supplements are really unregulated. So what's out there? How long are women supposed to be taking prenatals, and kind of what's going on in the industry?
As Vida mentioned, we thought the industry was fine. We were taking a prenatal that was $75 a month. It had 7 capsules, and it was a solid a day. And it was a solid prenatal. But when me coming from the functional medicine space, I'm used to taking supplements. I didn't think that 7 supplements a day was an issue at all. Vida, on the flip side, balances me out. And so Vida would kind of every hour take try to swallow another one and another one. And she would like nurse the little packet all day until she was done. And so, you know, that was one kind of thing, like, and when we looked at the industry as a whole, we either found the supplements were either very expensive, good quality, but expensive, and a lot of capsules. And so that issue is like compliance, right? When you're pregnant, are you going to be taking the doses that you need? Probably not when you're dealing with nausea in your first trimester and all of those things. And so for us, it was important to make a solid prenatal with not a lot of capsules. And then on the flip side, you have the cheaper prenatals, but they either have doses that are too low to make a difference, or they have ingredients that are just low quality, not bioavailable. They have a ton of fillers and binders and synthetic ingredients. And so we thought to ourselves, like, everybody needs access to a good prenatal, everybody. And it should be, moderately priced and not a lot of capsules. So WeNatal is actually 3 capsules a day. We have 0 fillers. So if you look at the ingredient label, it's nothing but what's in there. All of the ingredients are bioavailable. So what that means is that no matter what your genetics are like, you can absorb the nutrients. So for instance, 40 to 60% of the population have a genetic mutation called MTHFR. Those people cannot utilize folic acid. And folic acid is in a lot of prenatals. I'm sure you've heard folic acid all the time. However, we use methylated folate. So that's a bioavailable form of folate that anybody can utilize. So in ingredient integrity, and then the doses. So just doses that are, that will make the difference. Because for instance, I'll give you an example like choline. Choline is super important for brain development of the baby. The recommended daily amount of choline for pregnant women is 450 micrograms and 550 for breastfeeding women. So ours has 550, but I have never seen a prenatal on the market with that dosage, and that is just based off of recommended values for pregnancy. Ingredients, ingredient quality, also what's not in there, all of that was super important to us.
Yeah, I think we were shocked at just how much is on the market with synthetic ingredients, with the non-bioavailable forms. And it was our quest. We spent over a year with the best doctors to figure out this formula and make it with the latest research, clinically backed, with every ingredient, every dosage has clinical research behind it. And so we're incredibly proud. And I think your other question was, how long should you take it before you start trying to conceive? And there's answers all over the place. I mean, recommended at least 3 to 6 months, but the reality is our food and the nutrition that we're getting, even if we're eating an incredibly clean and healthy diet, our soils are depleted. Our food does not have the nutrients it once did in our grandparents' generation. So even the best, healthiest diets need that nutrient reserve pre-pregnancy. And a lot of nutritionists that we know and doctors we know say, hey, if you're in a relationship or in childbearing years, it's a great start taking your prenatals, build that nutrient reserve so that you're kind of ready when you do have your future baby.
And then just at the very least, I would say 3 months, something like that, because it takes about 100 days for your egg follicle to mature. And during that time frame, it's very sensitive to external environmental factors. So if you're replenishing your body with high nutrients, it protects the egg essentially. And then on the men's side, sperm regenerates every 72 days. And so, which is incredible. Men are so lucky because it's easy for them to completely transform their sperm quality. And so taking a prenatal for at least that amount of time for them is super important. And so antioxidants on the men's side, like CoQ10, vitamin C, zinc, NAC, L-carnitine, those things in high doses can improve all sperm parameters: motility, concentration, morphology, which is shape, DNA damage. And so they really have the opportunity to completely transform the DNA that they're giving to their child. So like we always say, the biggest gift you could give your future child is investing in the preconception timeframe. 3 months, take your supplements, eat clean, look at your environment in your house, make sure that you're breathing clean air, drinking clean water, exercising, doing all the things that we know that's good for us, but really investing in ourselves in order to invest in our children.
And it's not just our children, it's our grandchildren too. Your genes are passed on. So it's a big, responsibility. And we just want to share the knowledge that we learned in this process, and the importance of the preconception timeframe. That's kind of one of our missions.
With this high quality supplement, what were you able to get the price point to?
$50. It's under $50 per person. So $99 for the bundle. And when we started this company, we surveyed hundreds of our friends and family, and we found that the sweet spot was that most people we knew were spending between 30 and 50. And like Ronit mentioned, we were spending so much more to get a high quality supplement. We did everything in our power to deliver the most innovative, cleanest product under $50 because we knew that was important to our consumers.
And the exciting thing too is anybody that subscribes to our bundle, the his and hers, and we have other options. We have his and hers, and we could talk about that. They also get our manifestation journal, which is worth $24.99. Vida has it over there. And that's just an added value for couples because, for us and for so many, there's so many bumpy roads in becoming a parent. And we felt like we needed to create a tool to ground parents, to give them a sense of positivity. It's just so hard when you're going through that process to get your mind space in the right place. And so we created this journal, and it's incredible, with an amazing manifestation expert. And we're excited to gift it to anybody who subscribes to the bundle.
And it was important to us to look at the couple holistically, right? There's so much to the mind-body connection. There's so much research popping up about how important it is. And so we're also one of the first brands to really bring that holistic aspect to preconception.
Okay, we've talked a little bit about how important it was to you to get the formulation right. I know, Ronit, you worked with a doctor, but can you talk a little bit about your team of experts who kind of helped you come up with the product, formulate the product, and make sure it was top notch and top quality?
Yeah, so we're so grateful for our team of experts because we really have a top-notch team of experts. I was working in the functional medicine space when the idea came up for WeNatal. I was working with a doctor, Dr. Mark Hyman. He's a 14 times New York Times bestselling author, a pioneer in the functional medicine space, and really an overall great guy. So he's on our medical advisory board. We have Kelly Levesque, who's a holistic nutritionist and also just an incredible person. We have Bridget Tigemeyer, she goes by being Bridget on Instagram, such a smart functional nutritionist who worked at the Cleveland Clinic with Dr. Hyman. And then we have Lisa Dreyer, who's also a functional medicine dietitian. And we also worked with Dr. Afrouz Damiri. Dr. Damiri was really the main one who helped us on the formulation. She has 15 years of experience of working with couples that have had infertility. So she has both the functional medicine background, but also the hands-on clinical experience of what works and what doesn't work. When we were working with her, she was the head of functional medicine at UC Irvine. So we have a solid team of people behind our formula, but also behind just the brand and amplifying the message. Everyone is so excited about what we're doing because, Dr. Hyman shared this with us recently. He's been seeing couples for years, and he always looks at the man and he pieces together supplement regimens for them. So how amazing that most people cannot work with Dr. Hyman one-on-one. So how amazing that we're able to provide a product that just makes it easy on couples. Optimize, even if you don't have any issues, optimize before trying to conceive.
And I know trying to conceive can be yes, it's wonderful and it's exciting and it's happy, but it also can be so stressful. And that I'm guessing is why you focus a lot on the connection between mind and body. But talk to me a bit about your own experiences with maybe the stress of trying to conceive and how you're trying to alleviate that for folks who are now trying to conceive.
I'll speak to my own experience and definitely some that is matched in my friends and families. My journey was a bit longer than Ronit's. I actually had one miscarriage before we miscarried a week apart. And I can tell you personally, the shame and guilt and the stress I put on myself of like, was it something I ate? Was it the stress at work? Was it the workout that I did? I never stopped for 6 months post miscarriage. I pretty much played that blame game. And then fast forward to when we had the one a week apart, I didn't know to think any differently until she came to us with this, like, it could be both of us, it could be one of us. But the point is that like years of society telling us the burden's on the female, it was a huge mission that I want to go on. It's really like, how do we do this together? And how do we take the stress off just the female portion of the equation? And so I became incredibly passionate that I didn't want women to feel alone in this journey. Society says, we're having a baby, we're trying, we're, pregnant, but we found very little we in that process. And it's not from the lack of ambition on our partner's side, right? Like once we started making them a formula of cocktail of vitamins, they were happy to take it. They wanted to be more involved. But I think there's just such rich education that needs to happen about how we can bring couples close together. And like Ronit said, optimize the journey, even in the youngest and healthiest couples. But the reality is, like we said, our world is a bit more toxic than it's ever been. There's a lot more cellular activity, cell phones, laptops, all those things. Our food is not as nutritious as it once was. There's just more at play. And we're also having careers, we're having kids later in life. So there's just a ton more to consider. And therefore, yes, when you do wait later, it is sometimes, in a lot of cases, there's a lot more at play and it can take longer. It can be more stressful, which also inhibits your body if you don't learn how to manage the stress. And so that's why it was important for us, like we mentioned, to create the journal, but also like part of our mission is to give you the best so that we can set you up with everything that research has shown can help. And that's essentially how WeNatal was born.
And so the journal really has a bunch of tools to help the couple, get back into that positive mind space. And I know that sometimes when things are so difficult, it's really hard to find what to be grateful for. And so we have daily gratitude prompts every day, right? Take 3 minutes to write down what are the 5 things you're grateful for today. For some, it might be so hard to say what you're grateful for, but we guide people and it's like, okay, maybe I can't be grateful about anything that's happening right now in my life, but you know what? The sun is shining. I'm grateful for that. And so it's really, and more science is pointing to the fact that gratitude impacts your physical health. So that's a big one for us.
But let's say if someone can't get their hands on WeNatal right now, or they're just trying to find the right prenatal for them, what should it have in it and why?
Nutrition labels are so confusing. So we love to share with people like how to look at your nutrition label and what should you look at. So the number one thing is when you're looking at your, this is WeNatal for her. So a women's prenatal, when you're looking at your nutrition label, does it have choline? If it doesn't have choline, put it down, like big red flag. Then look at your B vitamins. Does it have methylated B vitamins? And if it says folic acid, put it down. That's like cheap ingredients that not everyone can absorb. The other thing to look at is the levels of vitamin D. The recommended amount of vitamin D for pregnancy is 4,000 IUs a day. That's what we have in our formula. So does it have vitamin D, or do you need, and it's okay if it doesn't have that much, you just need to supplement with external vitamin D, because low vitamin D is associated with a lot of things, including preeclampsia. So that's a big one. And then it's looking at the additives. Is there anything in the formula outside of the nutrients, right? What are the fillers? WeNatal is non-GMO, doesn't contain any nuts, corn, allergens, nothing. So that's kind of on the women's side. And then on the men's side, supplementing with antioxidants can improve your odds of a pregnancy by 4.
Wow.
So that's like a big deal. And in fact, so looking at things like CoQ10, N-acetylcysteine, NAC, zinc, vitamin C, these are all things that are good for you anyways and are good for your immunity. So men should be taking this regardless. We have specific targeted and doses in WeNatal, but if a man can't get access to WeNatal, they should be taking a multi at the very least that has antioxidants plus CoQ10 in it. Just one interesting study that I wanted to share about the importance of nutrients that I came across and I was blown away. So folate, which is the bioavailable form of folic acid, is super important. And so there was a study that was done on 30 couples that couldn't conceive for 4 years. One of the couple had the MTHFR genetic mutation that I mentioned. After taking 600 micrograms of folate for 3 months, 13 of those couples were able to conceive naturally. We are so grateful that we live in a modern society and that people can have access to all these innovative ways of, getting pregnant, like IVF and IUI. Sometimes going back to the basics of like nutrients and just making sure that your body has what it needs before going down that route is super important.
I haven't had a child. My husband and I aren't currently growing our family, but it's such a game before and after you try to conceive, right? You want like the best odds not to have a baby. Like which preventative method will keep me from having a baby the most? And then afterwards, you're looking at, it's like Moneyball for babies.
Yes.
Like you're looking at like any little thin margin that you can gain to improve your odds. It's just such an interesting thing we have to look at as human beings, right?
It is interesting. I mean, there are studies that show that women who were taking a multivitamin had children with higher IQs. So it's just like there's a lot. We are big believers in this, and just the studies that are out there support that, why not?
Yeah. And the reality is 50% of pregnancies are unplanned, right? So if you are at a childbearing age or in a committed relationship where it could happen, why not, improve your own health just with a nutrient reserve?
So are women continuing to take a prenatal if they are breastfeeding? Is that recommended? Is that a continued activity?
Totally.
Absolutely, yes. I'm still breastfeeding my daughter, and I can tell you, you're almost more depleted as a new mom with the lack of sleep. And breastfeeding definitely takes a ton out of you. And we'd say, our formula we want to ensure it was going to support mom's preconception through well after breastfeeding. So the short answer is absolutely yes. It's crucial, actually, maybe even more so.
This isn't just for nuclear families, for families who are one woman, one man. Like there are so many different kinds of families and kinds of humans taking WeNatal. So can you speak a little bit about supporting all sorts of families?
Yeah, it was crucial to us when we incepted this brand. We have friends, all different scenarios. We have friends that are just freezing their eggs because they haven't met their partner yet. We have, a lot of friends who are same-sex couples. And so we said, our goal is to create healthy little humans, whatever that means. And whenever in life you're ready, we're here for you. And so when we create our bundle, yes, there's a him and her, but there's also a him and him and her and her. There's also single, just for him, just for her. And our journal is gifted to any bundle, but is also sold separately. And so we're literally here to support you in any way possible. We're also literally have nutritionists and a community of health coaches that if you just email us at care, we're here to help. And so that was our mission, and we're super proud and excited of everything we have to offer any type of family or any version of a family you're in.
Yeah. And just to piggyback on what Vida was saying is we're so excited to build a platform with content and information that can support any type of family, any individual. We don't want anybody to feel alone going through this journey. So we have a robust blog on WeNatal.com where our experts that we mentioned earlier are contributing content about everything from what type of diet should I have, to how much exercise is too much exercise. And then we also have a free guide on WeNatal.com. If you enter your email, we give 9 tips for preconception for couples. So very easy things for couples to implement, like how do I clean my air in my house? So tips like open a window every morning, get a plant, invest in an air filter, and we recommend which ones we like, and was reviewed by our advisory board. And also on social, where we love putting out content on social, daily tips of how to, for couples to utilize on this journey.
And to that point, we want to be an optimistic brand. We know this time frame is so stressful and overwhelming. We want to actually just give couples the power of control. Like the more you know, the more you can do. And it just, it gives you a little bit of an insurance policy that you're doing the best possible thing for you and your growing family. And so we're going to be rich with education and knowledge that we learned along the way and from our incredible advisory board. And we want to share that with our community.
I love that. Okay, Vida, Ronit, anything we didn't chat about that you want to make sure people know? Shameless plug, where can everyone find you on social, online?
Yeah, so online we're WeNatal.com. And then Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, we're we_natal. And then, just visit us either on social or on the website. And our email is care@wenatal.com. We answer any questions. You could see the reviews on our website. People have been sharing that, we've gone back and forth with people. We've been giving all of our subscribers a free nutrition consult to ask us anything they want, ask our nutrition experts, everything they want. So we're just here for anybody. So shoot us an email. We're happy to answer any question, or DM us on social. We're here.
One final thing, since Ronit has a box sitting right next to us, I thought we'd give your listeners a sneak peek at what a bundle looks like. And then one final thing, we want to make sure we're leaving the earth a better place for our future families. So sustainability was huge. Also, when we were taking supplements, we were throwing away a plastic pouch every day. So you'll see the beautiful jars. And
so this is how the box comes. And these are our reusable glass jars. We have a travel container, and then the refill packets, which people get every month, come right behind the glass jars. And this is what you use to refill your jars every month.
Awesome. For those of you who are listening and not watching on YouTube, you'll know that the jars themselves are green and purple and really beautiful. And not only are they sustainable, they also just look nice on your countertop.
That's what was our hope. And thank you for calling that out. We knew that I was like hiding when I had like a counter full of like all these like medical looking bottles of, I was hiding them. And then also I was a bad vitamin taker. So I didn't take them because I didn't see them. And so our intention was, let's create something beautiful that you don't mind looking at, to leave it out on your counter, and hopefully we'll get into a habit of taking daily. And so it was important for us to have something beautiful and like excited to show versus hide.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for making it easier for people to feel a little bit more in control of this journey too.
Thank you
for having us.